It looks like we were right about these subscription services all along. Let's get into the video. Let's talk about it. Alright, what's going on, guys? This is That Guy Ken back with another video just to talk about some pretty interesting stuff that happened recently. This one is going to be a particularly interesting video for me anyway, because it just sort of highlights what we've been saying for a while now and just shows like further proof of that. I'm just going to kind of get into it a little bit here, but what happened was there was an interview that happened recently with the co-founder of the individuals who created the Oddworld Soulstorm game, and they basically said that their deal with PlayStation Plus was devastating for them in terms of sales. And they have a full quote here. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it. So the quote here says, "The deal was still for one free month. What we thought was that we might maybe sell 50,000 units or at launch or maybe 100,000. It was pretty small numbers because it wasn't going to be a lot of PS5s, and lockdown looked like it was going to affect the numbers of machines manufactured as well. So there would be shortages at retail, which for our deal would be kind of a good thing. Then there wouldn't be as many game machines out there to get the free game, but because it slipped to April, we had the highest downloaded game on PS5 with Oddworld Soulstorm. It was approaching at the end of the day close to 4 million units or something like that for free because they were all subscribers. For us, it was devastating, and so that's how kind of the economies work." Now, this is pretty interesting because I think it highlights a couple of different things. One is that these subscription services, like we've been saying for a while now, don't necessarily encourage sales for a game. I mean, why would somebody go out and purchase the game full price when they can just download it for free, quote unquote, for free in the service? PlayStation Plus has over 40 million people, close to 50 million people in the service. You would think with that many subscribers, right, there would be a good amount of people that would, if they wanted to buy the game, would go out and buy the game. But they didn't. Because why would they? I mean, they have access to the game day one, and they can just play it then right there without having to spend any extra money. Now, what I find interesting about this in particular is, even though these developers didn't quite hit their sales numbers, because they were like I said in the quote, they were looking for about 50,000 to 100,000. The game got a lot of engagement. There were over 4 million people who downloaded the game, even so much so that it was regarded as one of the highest downloaded games on the PlayStation 5 at the time. That's pretty interesting because a lot of people are talking about this, and what they're basically saying is that it was just a complete wash, which I don't believe that's what it was. I don't believe that what happened here was a complete failure. It was a failure in the sense that they didn't reach their sales goals, obviously because they have no other way to supplement the cost of development outside of actually selling the game. Because they don't, as far as we know, they don't get any money back for the number of engagement or downloads that they get on PlayStation Plus. So I think it's pretty clear that putting their game into the subscription service it discourages sales, but is great for engagement. Now, the reason why I make this distinction is because I kind of wanted to bring it full circle back to Sony's overall plan in general, in terms of subscription services and live service games. We all know Sony's not going to do their subscription service as their main, source of, providing gaming content or whatever the case, right? So it's very supplemental. But it's interesting because if you think about it, right? Even though a game like Oddworld wouldn't survive or hasn't survived on a service like this, that doesn't mean no game could, right? So Sony mentioned before that they're trying to do live service games. Now, I believe that a live service game would do great in a situation like this. Why? Because it's live service. You know, a lot of the money that they're going to be making back is supplemented due to the fact that the game is going to have microtransactions. So, just off of the simple fact that you have over 40 something million people who can possibly engage with your game, which in that particular case it would make sense, right? You need more people to engage with your game just off of the strength of your brand and your service, right? That I believe would be pretty successful. And I even think it would be successful to the point, right, where they could even drop their games day and date. And I'm not even talking about like some little, crappy game. I'm talking about like it could actually be like a high production game that they could drop day and date into the service, because what would supplement the sales or the cost of development would be the money that they make back in microtransactions. There was a pretty interesting bit of information that I came across not too long ago in regards to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The game at launch sold about 2 million copies during the first week, which I'm not going to do the math on that one. But it doesn't matter because it pales in comparison to how much the game actually made in revenue. The game made over $1 billion in revenue, and that was due to the microtransactions. That obviously supplemented the cost of development for the game. Now, imagine if Sony was able to put a game, even like to the degree of one of their first-party story-driven games. Let's just say they put $100 million into the game, right? And they dropped it day and date into the service. They could probably make that money back easily. Now, granted, there are caveats. It still has to be a good game, and it has to be a game that people actually want to play, and it has to be a game that's done well in terms of, keeping people engaged once they actually play it. So there's still a risk involved, but I believe if they do it the right way, it can be very lucrative, and it can make sense in that sense. So I think Sony's onto something when it comes to this whole live service thing. And I think everything that kind of happened with this particular situation is pretty telling for that. Not every game is going to survive in the service, and I especially believe that these single player games are just not going to do it. Why do you think Sony doesn't want to put their games into the service? Because people are not going to buy it. It is what it is, So in that particular case, it just wouldn't work. So, but that's pretty much all I had to say. On this particular topic. I don't really have anything else to say. If you like the video, just make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.